It's a story of my collection in times long ago. It's entitled My Rosy-Cheeked Sister by James P. Meyer. Elva's story. My sister is 2 years younger than me. I was just a little girl when one day Mama was bathing Olive, who was only about 4 months old. As mothers do, Mother ran her finger down the sole of Olive's foot, but nothing happened. She did it several times, and then quickly grabbed the baby and ran out to the fields where Papa was and told him she has no reaction in her foot. They took Olive to the doctor's office about 90 miles away, and it was diagnosed as infantile paralysis, commonly known today as polio. Growing up with Olive was in many ways a blessing. She grew into a plump, rosy-cheeked girl, and when she got older, I'd always carry her on my back. She weighed more than I did, but I didn't seem to care. I carried her all the time and took her everywhere. When she was developed enough, my folks got her a brace, and she could walk some, but not very fast nor very good. At school, there were times that we'd be playing on the playground, running and jumping, but I would always run a certain distance and then stop and wait for Olive to catch up. I didn't mind. And so she caught up. And then she would tell me, "Go on, go ahead, go ahead." But I never seemed to mind. When Olive was 13 years old, my father took her to Minneapolis to the Shriners Hospital. Papa was a member of the Shriners Club, and so she had an operation to strengthen her leg, which made it longer. They gave her therapy and continued it at home, such therapy. It was hard on her, but I'll never forget. I was out in the yard one day, and I heard her almost shrieking, "I can walk! I can walk!" I ran over to her, and there she was. She was taking a couple of steps without the use of the brace. I was so proud of her, just as I was proud of us when I carried her on my back all those years when she was a child. Nothing could stop us or hold us back then, and now, starting this day, nothing could hold her back now. The end. I wonder if your mother ever ran her finger on the bottom of your foot. I wonder if you ever ran your finger down the bottom of your child's foot. I wonder what Papa's reaction was to his wife's dismay. I wonder what your reaction would be if you found that your daughter or child had such a health problem. I wonder what prompted Elva to take Olive everywhere on her back. I wonder how Olive felt being toted around on Elva's back. I wonder what it was like to see Elva walk with a brace. I wonder what it was like for the family to see Olive walk alone at last without a brace. I wonder where the spirit of victory came from that supported Elva and Olive, in that nothing could hold them back now. And now our family room reflection. On Sunday, we met to break bread. Paul was discussing scriptures with the people. Since he intended to leave the next day, he kept talking until midnight. Many times, and there were lamps lit in the upstairs room where we were meeting. A young man named Eutychus was sitting in a window. As Paul was talking on and on, Eutychus was gradually falling asleep. Finally, overcome by sleep, he fell from the second story and was dead when they picked him up. Paul went to him, took him into his arms, and said, "Don't worry, he's alive." Then Eutychus went upstairs again, broke bread, and ate. Paul talked with the people for a long time until sunrise and then left. The people took the boy home. They were greatly relieved that he was alive. Acts 20, verses 7 through 12. And now our recollection. The Apostle Paul had so much to say to the people in so little time that he preached all night into the sunrise. I'm sure many fell asleep, as is the case today during sermons. But one lad, staying up to listen to Paul, did indeed fall asleep. He was sitting in the window of the second floor and fell to his death. Paul, hearing the commotion, stopped what he was saying and went out to find the boy dead among his friends and relatives. The Spirit of the Lord was still on him. And Paul said, "Don't worry, he's alive." And waking from death, Eutychus went upstairs, broke bread and ate. You see, no ghost can eat, so he proved that he was alive. Elva would take time to put her sister Olive on her back and be the legs to take her places everywhere. Elva would give up her time to spend with Olive and care for her. Olive continued to make progress and eventually walked on her own. Eutychus, also restored, re-entered life with his family and friends, much to the relief of his community. Elva's family rejoiced with Olive, as her spirit rose to where nothing could stop her now from enjoying life to its fullness. Paul was able to leave, knowing that they had learned a lot and would have life abundantly in the Lord.